Of the City Council, November 12th. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Maureen, would you lead us please in the pledge?
Certainly, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Heather, I saw the forward strip around for the price of the motorcycle trailer.
Here.
Here. I don't need it, but I need a trailer.
Beamer?
Move to approve the minutes of the work session for October the 8th as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Cameron?
Yes.
Dimmitt?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Mangan?
Yes.
Beamer?
Yes.
Westwood?
Yes.
Thank you. Move to approve the minutes of the regular session on October the 8th as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I had a question on page 1. The mayor's comments where it was the T-bid member notification. Do those normally indicate who was nominated that we approved? My recollection is that it doesn't. I guess my question is it more appropriate to include, or are we okay if it doesn't? And I defer to Lonnie.
If they were listed at the time, yes. they should
I'll have
be.
to listen back through there, but if they were,
They were listed.
were they,
Yeah, he gave us the names and we approved specific names, is my recollection.
I can add them.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so move to amend page 1 to reflect that pending Lonnie's verification
Of the names.
that the names are there.
To amend or approve?
To approve the amended minutes,
Yes.
I so move.
Second. Okay. Call for a motion on the amendment.
Roll call, you mean?
Hmm.
Roll call?
Mm-hmm.
Cameron?
Yes.
Dimmitt?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Mangan?
Yes.
Beamer?
Yes.
Westwood?
Yes.
And then back to the main motion on the minutes for October 8th. As amended.
Cameron?
Yes.
Dimmitt?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Mangan?
Yes.
Beamer?
Yes.
Westwood?
Yes.
Okay, we got through that. Okay, now, move to approve the minutes for the working session on October the 22nd as presented with attachments.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Cameron?
Yes.
Dimmitt?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Mangan?
Yes,
Beamer?
Yes.
Westwood?
Yes.
thank you all. Warrants. Rob and I went over the warrants today, and we approved them as presented. There's a total of $222,677.08. It includes Northwestern, $12,226.94. Republic Services, $37,684.72, and Dispatch Services of $23,819.89. Nothing is unusual with these, just going over all of them. We didn't have any questions on any of them to verify anything. You look like you have a question.
I do have a question. I was just wondering if in these claims, was there a bill for an outside counsel? Or a team of investigators?
For, no, no. Mm-mm. No. Okay, move to approve the warrants, for that total.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Cameron?
Yes.
Dimmitt?
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Minnion,
Yes.
Cameron,
Yes.
Westwood.
Yes.
Officers' reports were included in your packets. Anybody have any questions for the chief? He's here.
I have a question for Lauren, on her clerk's report. I noticed that there is a $500 donation to law enforcement. Do we need to be sending thank yous or recognizing people that donate? I saw in last month's, there was $1,300 donated to the police department. Should we be recognizing people?
I can answer that. They actually have been recognized with letters and as well as thank you notes. What that was is donations that were given to Coffee the Cop. We did some giveaway stuff to help promote the police department and just people donated towards that. And so that was not city funds, it was donations that were used in that. And like you said, there were thank you notes that were given out for that, thanking them for that. So
Okay.
they have been formally thanked.
Great.
And that was a good question, Mary. It gave the chief an opportunity to thank all of us who participated. All right. Moving right on, mayor's comments, the appointment of a person to fill the vacancy on the airport board. Craig Hash, who lives here in Red Lodge, was from Billings. He has a tremendous background as a pilot. He currently works for NetJets Aviation of Columbus, Ohio, and he flies all over the United States. He is aware of what the time commitment is on this. He's been a part of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Region 5 CAC, and he has just recently been selected by the U.S. Forest Service Southern Montana RAC, and don't ask me what all those initials mean. But he comes highly recommended, and he's very dedicated, and he wants to take this position. So the mayor would like to appoint Craig Hash to fill the vacancy on the city-county airport board for the city.
I have a question, it's probably best directed at James. Was this the only letter we received? It was the only one included in our packets?
I'm not sure, I
There
did not
was,
handle that
there
one.
was a couple others.
There were others. This
I
is
just
one
wondered
of
who
them.
they were.
I had heard word that other people were interested and
I
I,
think there was only two other ones.
okay.
And I can forward those to you guys if you would like.
I'm okay with that. I think fundamentally, that's one of the privileges of the executive branch is they get to choose appointments and barring a compelling reason, otherwise I'm inclined to support that, so. I move to approve Craig Hash, sorry.
When we have, openings on the board, are those publicly noticed?
Mhm.
And that was?
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Okay. I just remembered we just appointed someone a couple of meetings ago.
No, he talked about it,
Yeah.
the need, and then James said he was gonna publish it.
Oh, okay.
And I've heard people that have commented and responded that they were going to, or they were thinking about it, but as long as it's posted, whether they do, I was as much out of curiosity, as well as, like I said, in the past, my recollection is that we've had all of them forwarded on, but it doesn't change the fundamental choice that the mayor chooses, that's his prerogative,
And he does choose.
Yeah.
So you
So
made a motion?
I move to approve,
Craig Hash.
Craig Hash to the airport board as requested by Mayor Larson.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments from the table? Roll call, please.
Cameron,
Yes.
Minnion,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Minnion,
Yes.
Cameron,
Yes.
Westwood.
Yes.
At this point, we will take comments from the public. Anyone may address the council on a topic within the city's jurisdiction and specific to this agenda.
Not specific.
Not specific.
Not specific to this
Oh,
agenda. Okay, Christie.
Hi, my name is Christy Merck. My address is 7193 US Highway 212 Red Lodge. I would like to take this opportunity to make the public aware of our community meal that we provide each week. This is on behalf of Church of the Rockies. So, twice a week, we provide a complimentary community meal. On Monday nights, we're in Roberts at the campus there. And on Wednesday nights, we provide the meal here in Red Lodge at the Round Barn campus. We have seen a lot of needs met through this opportunity and this event, but especially it meets two real needs that we have in our community. One is a need of hunger. There are people in our town that are hungry, and this provides a hot meal for them twice a week if they choose to go to both events. Also, we've found that it meets a relational need. People sometimes live in isolation these days, and so this provides a time when they can come and sit at a table with some of the people from their community and help them emotionally and relationally. We've seen single moms that come and enjoy, children, senior adults, special needs adults that come, young married, singles, just every range that you could think of. And so right now we're serving around 130 plates a week combined with the two events. And we just want to continue to get the word out about this opportunity for our community. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to share it publicly. And I do have some cards here that I'd like to pass around, and anyone is welcome. There's no strings attached. There's no expectation. It's complimentary that our church provides for our community. And also on Wednesday, November the 27th, which is the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, we'll be having Thanksgiving dinner at the Red Lodge campus from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And that'll be in the paper. You'll see it around town some more. But thank you for the opportunity to share this. And if you don't mind, I'll pass these around.
I don't mind,
Okay,
Christie.
thank you.
Thank you,
Right.
Christie.
Thank you. You wanna give me staff? I can pass
And
it
if you
around.
want to leave some with Ron, you can put them at the counter.
Okay.
Thank you. Hand them out to
That's fine.
the general public.
Dinner's done.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, old business.
You got one? Hi, I'm Maureen Wall, 716 Lazy M, and Red Lodge. And I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the chief and the sheriff's department because they participated in our Elks Drug Awareness programs for the last week and a half. And it concluded, not after we'd gone to all of the schools and had some other events, we concluded with the drug take back last Thursday. So I would like to just go on public record to thank our law enforcement for their support.
Thank you, Maureen. That's a good program. Anybody else? Okay, old business. Lease agreement with Recycle Red Lodge, up for action.
Move to approve the lease agreement as amended with Recycle Red Lodge.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agreement with Recycle Red Lodge as amended. Are there any additional comments?
So what exactly are the dates that we're putting in there on the terms?
I filled it in on the front page.
Is there another copy that we don't have yet?
No, the one I just. Did they stop it, Mr. William?
Oh, yeah.
That's that way. Sorry, Mr. Reamer, holding all of it. The dates are in there, July the
Get some
1st.
fires started.
They were so nice and warm.
Right out of the fridge.
Date of it, July the 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2014, which if my math is correct.
2024.
2024, sorry. It's 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
I don't do math well.
And then does that include the other edits?
Yes, it did.
Move to recall my motion, move to approve the lease agreement with Recycle Red Lodge.
Second that.
Moved and seconded to approve the lease agreement as presented with Recycle Red Lodge. Are there any comments?
I would,
Go ahead.
sorry, I would just like to go on the record that, I have some concerns with the gray areas and the fuzziness of it. However, we have been assured by the city's representation that the city is protected, and we have been urged by the other party, Recycle Red Lodge, to approve this and get this on the books, even though there is hope that some of these terms can improve and be clarified more in the future. So I wanted to make sure that conversation was part of the record. But I appreciate the changes that were made and moving forward with them.
Thank you, Dave. Anybody else?
I second everything Dave said.
Okay. Okay. Roll call, please, Don.
Cameron,
Yes.
Image,
Yes.
Hoffman,
No.
Meehan,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Westbrook.
Yes.
New business. Use of city-owned property permit, Bone Daddy, city property by rodeo grounds, July 2020.
I move to approve the use of city-owned property permit for the Beartooth Rally by Heather Twink of Bone Daddies.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve the use of the city-owned property permit for Bone Daddies. Is there any comment? Go ahead.
Do we need to vote on the exemption for the open container?
And MMA has said that we do not need to ever waive the open container exception. So that came up, I don't remember when, back, might have been 2 years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, that, they had done it in different cities, but they did not recommend us doing that.
But we've done it down at the dances and everything.
I know, I'm just saying, it's
What
up
was-
to y'all, but I'm just.
What was the logic and their reasoning about why we shouldn't make an exemption?
I would have to go back and look, David, has been, I think it was the first 4th of July when I came here, that something came up. It may not have been this, it might have been another, another issue.
No.
But they
I
had,
never said it.
they
just
had
thought
done it
about
in the past, and I don't know if it was Missoula or somewhere, they had an issue, and so they had said they wanted us not to waive the open container exemption.
So what that is saying
Is what you take over here.
is, no, hold on. So they're not saying it's not necessary to waive it. They're saying,
Don't waive it.
don't
You're
waive
saying
it.
don't waive it.
I would really like to see that in the record from them. If we have somebody who's following the rules as far as keeping it contained in there, I mean, that means no more street dances.
Well,
No more. You're not gonna have a street dance without alcohol. I think, I remember when this came up as an issue, and it was that, the gals, who are the gals that have the little campers? And they were gonna camp during Christmas stroll right here between the Pollard and the parking lot, and they wanted to get an exemption. But they didn't wanna get a family, or a use of city-owned property permit, because they didn't wanna pay the $100 for the use of city-owned property. That was the fee. And so but they wanted an exemption also, because they wanted to be able to have their drinks while they're sitting outside, during the Christmas stroll, outside of their little campers, what people were looking for, and they never came and asked for an exemption because they didn't have $100 to pay for the use of city-owned land.
My concern there is that puts our law enforcement force in a very awkward position. Procedurally, do we amend it, the motion to include an open container exemption, or is that a separate action?
It's on number 12 here. It says we have to.
My question is, do we just approve this, or is it automatically included when we approve this?
It doesn't appear that it's automatic, because it says in accordance with municipal code, it may be granted by the city on a case-by-case basis for specific date, time, and location. So
That's
what
what
I
we
would
did.
say.
Let's let one person.
So what I'd say, if you
talk
want
at a
to
time, please, Mary.
maybe look at the issue a little further, you could approve the land use and then come back to that issue. And, which this is, like Heather said earlier, this is at the campground. So yeah, you're gonna have an enforcement problem, but I don't know that city law enforcement will be there unless they're called.
My inclination, based on feedback that we've been provided by FOR, is that our insurance covers us for legal activities, which means, to me, we have the ability to make it a legal activity. From a city standpoint, I definitely wanna do that so that we're covered by MMIA.
I would have to go back through my notes, Dave, and find when and what.
I'm trying to recall when we've approved these in the past, if it's been 2 votes or 1 vote, and okay, so, okay, so if we approve this, we are also approving the exception as part of the request. That was the clarification I was seeking. Okay, I'm comfortable with that, thank you.
That's what we required of Marie when she came before us, and she said she didn't need an exemption. And we said, well, then you can't have alcohol. And so we did have that discussion at that time, and she didn't, well, what do I have to do to get it? And we said, you have to ask us, you have to put it in here, in the application that you need the exemption, and then we say yes. And that's what we would say.
I just wanna say this is a little bit different in that we are not providing alcohol, no one's selling it, it's just campers.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, this
Just that-
isn't about the selling, this is just a waiver for the open container. So
Okay.
it makes it so that it's legal to have open containers. And
Right,
since
exactly,
I'm gonna bet a nickel that there will be, I would like to make it a legal activity so that the
Exactly.
city is covered.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
are you finished?
I am,
And you're okay with it?
I am.
Okay,
All right,
okay.
move to approve the use of city-owned land, permit for the Bear Tooth Rally, by Bone Dance.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the applications. Any more questions, any more comments?
Cameron,
Yes.
Image,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Mahan,
Yes,
Beamer,
Yes.
Westwood.
Yes.
okay.
And it's something I'll point out, I mean, actually in the land use permit, it states it's for public streets, sidewalks, alleys, or sidewalks, and really where they're at is not a public highway, a sidewalk, an alley. So in that situation, it probably not would be a problem that you grant one. Just looking at y'all's wording.
Before we go into the next slated item, which is ordinance 950, I apologize for not catching this earlier. We have published and we do need to have a public hearing prior to moving on to the ordinance.
A public hearing for this 950, yes, I know.
I
Did you
didn't
think
see
I
it
hadn't
as,
read the agenda?
it's not on the agenda, oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
Yes, it is. Aha,
I missed it.
somebody else didn't read the agenda.
I didn't read the last word on the line.
That's okay, Dave. You're excused this one time. All right. Next item on our agenda, ordinance 950, amending Title 12 Development, Spires PUDS setbacks. This is public hearing, first reading. Anybody like to speak to this? Boy. Everybody's really into this, aren't they?
It's okay, there'll be cookies at Glory's house following the meeting.
Well, tell us what it's about.
Yeah, read it first.
Some of us haven't been here in 14 years. Boy, you've missed a lot.
James, would you like to speak to this?
I can certainly do that, Gloria, thank you. The request is to eliminate 0 lot line side requirements for some of the lots at the Spires. There's, I believe there's 6 different types of building typology at the Spires. 2 of them required buildings to be on a lot line, and there was never easements put in place to allow people to do maintenance on their homes. It was something that we had brought up at the banks years ago to either add easements to the property or request a zone change. When the bank owned the property, they did not want to deal with that. So when the new developer looked to buy it, that was something I had spoken to him about, was that issue. We've had people that wanted to build there in the past who have not because of the zero lot line requirements. So the request is to eliminate that section of the PUD, and they will have 6-foot side setback requirements, which is typical in the city of Red Lodge. So they're essentially going with setback requirements that is found elsewhere in town.
Thank you. Anybody at the table have anything to say? Doesn't look like we've got anybody out there who's eager to speak about it. Any of you young people wanna speak about it? You know, you can speak up. Okay.
If the public hearing is closed, I'm happy to make a motion. I just don't want to overstep that.
I think the public hearing is closed because nobody else wants to talk.
Move to approve ordinance 950, an ordinance by the city of Red Lodge, Montana, to amend the PUD-S to remove required zero lot line requirements on the live, work, and patio single-family districts in the municipal code pertaining to land use as governed in Title 12, Development Chapter 4, zoning regulations.
Second.
And third, fourth.
Race here. On first reading.
Was there a second?
On first reading. Listen to Lonnie, Dave.
On first reading.
Second.
Okay, it moved and seconded to approve ordinance 950 as presented on first reading. Any comments from the table?
Looks good.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome.
Roll call.
Cameron,
Yes.
Emmett,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Mahan,
Yes,
Humer,
Yes.
Westwood.
Yes.
approved, first reading. Thank you. All right, reports from the public. Now, this is an opportunity for you to speak on any topic. Doesn't have to be on the agenda.
Interested to see.
You know, I bet if we asked them to send us a message on their phone, they would all do it. Yeah, but it's creeping up that they don't want to do it. Nobody, okay. Correspondence. We did get some correspondence from the Montana Department of Transportation telling us that, at the request of the Carbon County Commissioners, they have decided to not change the speed zones on Highway 212, just north of town. Just letting everybody know, they decided to not change the speed limit.
It was a good study. It was good information.
It was really good.
So,
I have a question. I had somebody from the public asked me if alternatives could get a copy of the contract. We approved its signature, we approved the mayor to sign the contract for alternatives on September 10th, I believe, the September 10th meeting. And I know that, they requested a copy of that. And so, yeah, they're still looking for that.
so did Lonnie answer your question?
Well, she has it. Are you gonna send it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, is there any other business? Diane?
Just a reminder that we will need to put the second meeting of December on the agenda for the next meeting to cancel it.
Yes,
Don't think anybody wants to be here.
yeah, we know.
And then, the council will need to appoint a different person, for the resort tax committee, because I had to step down, so.
And we know that too, and I attended the meeting in your place, last Friday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, and, I am prepared to step up for that position, and when the mayor comes back, we will discuss it.
That was a council.
Yeah, that was the council appointment, so is
Yes.
there, I mean, we know that Lori's interested. Is there anybody else that's interested? I'm sure you're in. We could put it up for action at the discussion meeting, can't we?
We can.
Yeah, let's do
And we
that.
can talk a lot about it.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Yes,
I had a question, probably best directed at Lonnie, although you may be able to answer with your institutional knowledge as well. When was the last time we did a vote or a confirmation vote, whichever word you want to use, on our form of city government?
So that's done every 10 years, I believe?
Yeah, and
The last one was done, I believe, 4 years ago. I'll have to double check, but it was.
it's within,
It's not coming up anytime soon.
or not the obligatory vote. We could still raise it, but it wouldn't be by virtue
Yeah.
of the automatic renewal clause.
normally it gets raised if we want to change something, if it's beyond, outside of the normal time frame. All right, is there anything else to come?
So I have another thing. So
Okay.
on the next meeting, we need to approve a resolution. The police department sold one of their Tahoes, but it's to another municipality, but we still have to do a resolution. So instead of waiting until December for that other entity to get it, we'll have a resolution to come forward at the next meeting. We just didn't have
At
time
the
to
next-
get it.
Do we need to pass anything tonight to accommodate that, or we just post it?
So it'll be at the next meeting.
Yeah, but it'll be for action. So we'll do the resolution.
So we'll have a couple of things.
Yeah.
Hi, Lori.
Yes,
Just because this meeting is so short, I don't mind prolonging it. Could you go back to the decision by the DOT not to lower the speed limit? And just give us a couple bullet points about the decision, and I wondered how the chief felt about it.
yeah.
Madam Chair, would you like me to comment to that?
We're talking about
So we have a study
increasing
which
the process.
I'm very happy to share as you can talk to anybody on council on it. Because there was a couple of things statistically, I thought was interesting. There was one graph that had some numbers. Just some numbers to share, by the way, for those who wondered. Our traffic ranges from about 2,400 vehicles going back and forth per day in February to just over 5,000 in July. Those were from 2018. So if you wonder how many cars are coming and going from Red Lodge. What they specifically did was a series of studies, which was people following the speed limit. One of the things that I thought was interesting that they quoted in their study is that they commented that nobody would pay attention to it anyway, so let's not change it. It's anticipated minimal compliance to a reduced speed limit would be observed. I thought that was an interesting thing to factor into their decision. But primarily what they said is there was 57% of the overall crashes involved animals, which, so when I was reading through it, I made a note to myself, and this equals a no. But their summary, which kind of discussed it, is we recommend no changes. There is no clear evidence to indicate that this segment of US 212 has any special characteristics outside the capacity of the statutory daytime speed of 70 miles per hour. So that was ultimately their decision, is it's not special. It fits within the ranges of when we went through and said, where do we put 70 mile per hour speed limits? There's nothing in this stretch of road, and they based that on traffic and speeds and going into and out of it. They just said it fits right in with what it was designed to do.
And is that okay with you?
Yeah, I believe that, the speed studies, I believe in using people who are trained in doing it, following their information. These people, that's what they do for a living, they study speed, they study crashes, and if that's what the recommendation is, that's usually the best recommendation that we have. And so I'd absolutely go along with that. Science hard to beat science.
One thing, they do have a comment period, that is 60, was within the next 60 days, and the report's dated October 30th. I don't think it was part of what I handed you, but I'll make you a copy of it.
I don't disagree with the decision, I just wondered how it got the decision.
Oh, I didn't like it, so. Because that's right, where a lot of our animals, the mama bear, baby bear in that area got hit and killed, and
Right.
it's just, yes, they count.
Rob wants to say something.
Like the idea of slowing down the animals, there are a lot of them up here.
Yeah.
Especially at night, they're moving around. We should actually consider them in the situation. And another thing that haunts me is that rest area, that it's on a corner. It seems like, yeah, people coming and going out of that thing. You know, you're coming around a blind area when somebody's going, so that seems like a real spooky situation. Something could be improved.
I wanted to add one comment, that you're allowed to go slower, and if you're behind me at night, I apologize, I will not be exceeding 45 miles an hour, deal with it. Physics, it's the law.
Is there anything else that, yes,
Hey, Chief, they said in here something about mile marker or number 75. Where is that? Is that going north?
I know that's out of my jurisdiction.
It's out of the
Good answer. Good answer.
Out of the police jurisdiction or out of the city?
So, I believe 75, I honestly don't know exactly what mile marker 75 is, but, I believe it's fairly close to where the clinic is.
Cause it said on here
I'm
something
not
about the local attractions, about the campground and stuff, and I think I wasn't out there when the issue with the mama bear, baby bear, but
75 is beyond where I live. I'm at 7486. 75 is just a little further north.
Cause I think what people in town really wanted was more towards as you're coming into town where it's 70 and then drops down to 45. Cause I'm like Dave, I do slow down right in there because I've almost hit a deer, bears run out in front of us.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know why they can't fix that little section. Up the highway's different from coming in downtown.
Well, they did do the speed study all the way up to through town. I mean, it goes to Robinson Lane.
Well, I'm gonna call Street and just tell them I'm disappointed. I mean, coming into town and you've got Church of the Rockies there and there's some kind of.
Church of the Rockies is out of town.
Yeah, but it's still within the police jurisdiction. And that's the area where the bear and stuff got hit. So you've got church traffic, you've got animal traffic.
now Rob gets to talk.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Are you finished?
I am. Go ahead.
The motorcycle is called that stretch the gauntlet.
Yep.
You know, it's like, slow down. It's a lot of animal traffic.
Yeah,
through there.
animals.
It'd be nice if we went running them over.
Of course, there will be a roundabout there eventually at 2 miles where we slow traffic down.
That'll slow them down to 25.
Will they have to put a lower speed limit, like?
It's even further out.
I agree with Dave, you're allowed to slow down.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Tourists don't know
No, they don't know.
until they hit something.
Yeah, till it's too late, yeah. Is there anything else to be brought before this august body? And we are adjourned. Thank you all for being here.